والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد. Today بإذن الله تعالى يوم الجمعة ليلة السبت, the 16th of Rabi' al-Thani 1425 Hijri, it being in agreement with June the 4th 2004, we deal with an issue that is amongst us that must be dealt with from the standpoint of advisement, and that is an issue of this person, Abu Usamah adh-Dhahabī. Abu Usamah adh-Dhahabī, possibly herein referred to in the rest of the lecture as Goldie. Goldie. He has this, from what I know, this affiliation with this issue of metals that are precious and the like. He said that originally why he took the name Adh-Dhahabī was he was an individual in the dunya who was attached to gold and things of that nature, and therefore he wanted to be called Adh-Dhahabī, the golden one, or Goldie, if you will. And there's nothing wrong with that in the general sense when a man chooses that, and you know, hakadha. Walakin, he said later on, when he learnt of the existence of the great muhaddith and historian Adh-Dhahabī, the scholar, he wanted that name also. But we'll stay up on the principle, and we'll say that this response that came about through the actions that he came and foolishly committed that day, where he came to Masjid Rahmah and claimed that he wanted to make tawbah and the like. We'll say that all of this and pretty much of the fitna connected to Abu Usamah adh-Dhahabī, or Goldie if you will, is because he doesn't have the ability to shut his mouth. He doesn't have the ability to stay in his place and to be quiet and to stay out of affairs that simply do not concern him. So we give him this principle, since he likes expensive jewelry and the like, gold and silver and whatever. The principle states, إن كان كلام من فضة فالسكوت من ذهب. That if talking is from silver, then silence is golden. That is, talking is from silver, then silence is golden. If he understood this principle, or acted upon this principle, or implemented this principle, all of this fitan and all of this confusion would not be there. Let's read some nusus before we hear the voice of the man on the tape and respond to it, inshallah ta'ala, given the time constraints. Respond to as much as we are able to respond to. And that is the matter of nasiha must be there. This is something that must be given in general. And Ibn Rajab rahimahullāh makes a distinction between an-nasiha wa ta'yir. An-nasiha and exposing a person. He says, فَهِينَئِذٍ, therefore, فَرَدُّ الْمَقَالَاتِ الضَّعِيفَةِ, responding to weak statements, وَتَبَيْنَ الْحَقِّ فِي خِلَافِهَا بِأَدِلَّةٍ شَرْعِيَّةٍ, and explaining the truth, that the truth is the opposite of it, with legislative evidences, is not of those matters which are disliked by the ulama, but rather it's loved and is praiseworthy, and they praise the individual that does it. فلا يكون داخلا في باب الغيبة بالكلية. It doesn't enter into the area of ghiba at all. So if it becomes such that in correcting or rectifying a wrong, an individual hates it because you have exposed his mistake, فَلَا إِبْرَ بِكِرَاهَتِهِ. It's not to be looked at whatsoever his dislike or his hatred. Because his hatred for the haqq being made clear, it's not from the khisal, the qualities which are mahmudah, which are praiseworthy. When a person makes a mistake regarding the statement of regarding the deen of Allah Ta'ala, or regarding halal and haram, regarding qala Allah wa qala Rasuluh, then he is to be checked. No matter who he is, no matter what's his status, no matter what anyone thinks about him, ka'inan man kan, as they say, no matter who he is, the difference is, as Shaykh Ubaid say, that if he's one of those who are upon the sunnah and the way Salafiyyah, you respect his position, you respect him. You do so with some respect. But a naqd must be done. Criticism must be done. بل واجب على المسلم أن يحب الظهور الحق. It's obligatory upon the believer to like the appearance of the truth or the dominance of the truth. ومعرفة المسلمين له, and that the Muslims know it. سواء كان في موافقته ومخالفته, whether that is in agreement with him or in disagreement with him. And one of them used to say, Jafar ibn Burqan, قال ميمون بن محران said, O Jafar, قل لي في وجهي ما أكره, say to me in my face what I hate. فإن رجل ينصح أخاه, because a man has not given his nasiha to his brother, حتى يقول له في وجهه ما يكره, until he says in his face that which he hates. I think you're getting an inkling of the principle. It's about keeping the matter clear. It's about making the matter clear. So we listen, inshallah ta'ala, a little bit to the ludicrous and insanity of this man.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه. You don't want to talk to me first?
We don't have no hajjah for his khutbah hajjah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله أما بعد. Today is, in the Gregorian calendar, May 31st, 2004, after Salat al-Asr in Masjid Rahmah in Newark, New Jersey. And I am your brother Abu Usamah adh-Dhahabī. And I've come here after being in the city of East Orange and North for a week. I've been sending messages to the masjid through different people trying to set up a meeting with Abu Uwais and the responsible people here. As a matter of fact, one of those people was Brother Naeem, who just attested to the fact that he did receive one of those messages from one of the brothers who called from Passaic, New Jersey, and that was at the beginning when I arrived in the area. I also gave a message to Brother Qasim and Abdul Hakim, individuals to set up a meeting, because I wanted to come to the masjid to make a tawbah, to make a public tawbah and recantation for whatever is needed and whatever is necessary as it relates to my Salafiyyah.
MashaAllah. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. And individuals who have ears are amazed. One is, I don't know or recall, and if I'm mistaken, then correct me. of there being any need to specifically go to any particular location to take Tawbah, to repent to your Lord. I know that to make Tawbah, you have to quit the sin. To make Tawbah, you have to make istighfar upon your tongue. To make Tawbah, you must have the resolve, the azm, never to do it again. And if there's a right of an adami, that you give that back. But I've never in any of the books dealing with issues such as this matter have ever heard that there was a specific place you had to go to make Tawbah. Now, I am a firm believer in the fact that if someone's going to make Tawbah, that they should at least know what they're making Tawbah for. I think that this is very important. I think that it's quite hard for an individual to make Tawbah for something they don't understand that they're making Tawbah for. What in the world are you going to make Tawbah for something that you don't even understand what you're doing? I ask that you listen again.
To the masjid to make a tawbah, to make a public tawbah and recantation for whatever is necessary as it relates to my salafiyyah.
Whatever type of tawbah is that, akhi? You're going to make a tawbah and you're going to make a recantation for whatever. You don't know why you're making Tawbah, and you don't know what you're recanting. We say it again. Take the principle, brother. إن كان كلام من فضة فالسكوت من ذهب. If talking is from silver, then silence is golden. How are you going to make Tawbah? And you don't know what you're making Tawbah about. How are you going to recant from something? And you don't know what you're recanting from. And all of this is going to be connected to your Salafiyyah. And you don't know what it is. Isma.
Claim to be Salafi in my Aqidah, and I claim to be Salafi.
Now,
is needed, whatever is necessary as it relates to my salafiyyah.
Now they always say that it's always a Freudian slip sometimes. You know, that an individual can say that I am Salafi and upon Salafiyyah. But for a Salafi to say I claim to be Salafi in my Aqidah and I claim to be Salafi in my minhaj, that's majnoon. That's majnoon. Now you say, Akhi, Eish hada, what you doing to the man? You're picking on every point. I say to you that the Salaf say that words carry their meanings and therefore are restricted to them. And madama, and since it's such that he said what he said, then he's to be accountable for what he said. No one asked him to come to Masjid Rahmah. If someone did, it was not a representative of Masjid Rahmah. Na'am.
That I claim to be Salafi in my Aqidah, and I claim to be Salafi in my minhaj. So while I was in the area, Ikhwan, had an opportunity to meet about 50 Muslims, and in meeting them, I asked them, you're obviously aware of the situation that's going on, I'm open for advice. What do you think?
Allahu Akbar. هل ينقطع العجائب? Do the astonishing matters of this man stop? You're dealing with an issue of the care of the banner of Jahl wa Ta'dil's hukum upon a person. And many, many other scholars that you really don't give them any type of weight because you say that the matter is just between Sheikh Rabi and Abu Hassan. We'll get to that, inshallah. You're dealing on this level of scholars who would have to know sabab al-jarh, the reason behind the disparagement, sabab al-tabdi', the reason behind innovation. And you're going to ask 50 laymen in Newark, New Jersey? And you're going to ask them advice? Akhi, come on. All of these years at Islamic University of Medina, there's not one scholar you can ask there. There's not one teacher you had that you have enough trust in to ask. But rather you find yourself in a position of necessity where you have to come to Newark, New Jersey and ask 50 common folk. I had to ask 50 common folk.
Muslims, and in meeting them, I asked them, you're obviously aware of the situation that's going on. I'm open for advice.
You're obviously aware with the situation that's going on. So he is claiming that these 50 brothers knew what was happening vis-a-vis regarding Abu Hassan al-Ma'arabi, regarding as we say, Goldie's position. Regarding all of that, they understood it, right? And this is important because later he's going to say that they didn't know. He said they know. He said, I understand that you know the situation.
What do you think is, what I need to do? And
asking 50 laymen, what do you think that I need to do? فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Ask the people of knowledge if you don't know. I say that the man needs to learn. إِن كَانَ كَلَامٌ مِنْ فِدَّةٍ فَسَكُدْ مِنْ ذَهَبٍ. If talking is from silver, then silence is golden. Tell Goldie that.
Turned out that no one was able to tell me why I wasn't Salafi.
No one was able. So obviously they don't know the reason. He just said they knew. Y'all know. You 50 people know. Now they're not able to tell him why he's Salafi. Akhi, subhanallah. Hada min al-ajaib. This is astonishing. That someone who studied in Medina and know all the mashayikh is walking around wondering, why I'm not Salafi. No one can tell him why he's not Salafi. No one can tell him why he's not Salafi. I like to know who these 50 brothers is and have a talk with them. We got a sidebar.
So I wanted to come to make it perfectly clear from what I gathered from the internet and things like that, is that the people said that the ulama of al-Islam, the shuyukh of our dawah, they said that I wasn't Salafi and I was a deviant, which isn't the case. The reality of the fact is that Sheikh Khalid Harabi is the only one who said that I was a deviant.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Kadhib. No, maybe it ain't a lie. I'm sorry. I shouldn't say that. You mean I read about him? What you say Zayd Madkhali said about him? And he didn't read it? You mean I read about him? What Sheikh Ahmad Najmi said about him? When it's described to him, he says, Mubtadi' fa'arani, turn away from him. You mean I read about him and is still on righteous path? What Ahmad Basmool said in detail about him, but he doesn't know? Someone who doesn't possess something can't give it. The only one he knows about is Sheikh Faleh, and he chose them specifically for a reason that we may or may not get to in this lecture.
As for Sheikh Rabi and other than them, they never made tabdi of me. People said that I also am a follower of Abu Hassan al-Ma'arabi, and wallahi may the curse of Allah be upon me and my children if I'm lying.
Mahlan, take it easy. Mahlan, akhi. Don't do that. Please, don't hurt yourself. Hey, curse of Allah on my children. You want it to be the furthest from your children. But this is something that they always had a habit of saying. May I die a Jew if such and such has happened. No. Hey, what you want to die a Jew for? Ask for the help of Allah Ta'ala. Die a Jew. So let him finish talking about the curse.
And may Allah cause us to die as Jews if I'm lying or if I'm playing any games. I am not a follower of Abu Hassan al-Ma'rabi. If he came into the masjid, I wouldn't know him and he wouldn't know me.
I don't know, maybe you suddenly got blind. And he said, SubhanAllah. And listen to the point that he's saying he's not a follower of Sheikh Abu Hassan al-Ma'rabi. Because, personally, I believe it's the second head of the same coin. That much of what he was saying, if not all, was what Ma'rabi was saying. To the degree, like our brother Abu Hassan Malik said, he put about 7 tapes together and listened to them. And he said you really couldn't tell where Abu Hassan Ma'rabi started and where Goldi's Abu Usamah adh-Dhahabī began. If you listen to them. He was a defender, staunch defender of the man early on. But the interesting here is that he said he's not a follower, because later on he wants to be treated like a follower. Back and forth. Back and forth.
All I said was, I don't see the man as being a deviant because of the ikhtilaf that remains between him and Sheikh Rabi'. I don't see the man as being a deviant.
إن كان كلام من فضة فالسكوت من ذهب. If talk is from silver, then silence is golden. No one told you, Akhi. Who told you you were the man in the man of the ummah? Who told you you were supposed to talk in these issues, in these affairs? Who told you that I didn't think? Like the guy who says Indi. They say, you don't have an Indi. Who would be Indi? Your opinion. Who told you that you had that position? Isn't this, since you like to call everyone as ghulat, isn't this the position of ghulu? That you place yourself in a position in front of Sheikh Rabi' and in all the other mashayikh, and it's as if your opinion counted? Even if you held that was the case, or was it the case, would not have maslahah dictated that you kept that to yourself, especially since you're not an alim, a scholar in any endeavor or any affair, let alone jarh wa ta'deel. This is craziness. Who told you you had a right to speak? Who told you you had a right to say something? Who told you that the ummah was waiting on you to speak? Or that the ummah was waiting, that no one was waiting on you to speak except those masakeen brothers who haven't studied kitab and haven't studied sunnah and haven't got on the understanding yet of taking from the Salaf Salih and from the ulama. They're the ones waiting for you to say something. Everyone else could care less if you spoke or were silent. Matter of fact, they'd probably be more at ease with your silence.
That is the position of other ulama.
Okay, Jayyid. Ikhtilaf. Let's go back a second.
Came into the masjid, I wouldn't know him and he wouldn't know me. All I said was, I don't see the man as being a deviant.
That's enough.
Because of the ikhtilaf that remains between him and Sheikh Rabi'.
He gives you the impression that the ikhtilaf is between who? Him and Sheikh Rabi'. Him and Sheikh Rabi'. Is that the case? Case where Ma'rabi is between? Jayyid. Except with istithna'at qalila. First one to talk about Ma'rabi was Sheikh Muqbil. By those who were around him, Sheikh Muqbil said, I fear for this da'wah from this man Abu Hassan. Sheikh Muqbil, number one, he doesn't mention him. Sheikh Allāmah Ahmad ibn Yahya al-Najmi, the same who spoke about him, Huh? He's also spoke in detail regarding Abu Hassan. Sheikh Allama Fari ibn Nafi, they put the, actually it should be because Sheikh Fari is not from the Allama. Sheikh Fari ibn Nafi al-Harbi, Sheikh al-Fadhi Ubayd al-Jabiri, Sheikh Saleh al-Luhaydan, head of, a member of the Kibar ulama, a member of Hayat al-Kibar ulama, Ra'is al-Majlis Qada al-A'la, the head, the presidency of the higher judicial matters. Huh? He spoke about him. Or did you forget him? Or did you forget him also? Sheikh Abdul Aziz al-Bura'i, Sheikh Allama Salih Fawzan, he was asked about him on a couple occasions. And when he was asked about him regarding one situation, he said something good. Other situations were described to him regarding Ma'arabi's situation of the Ghuthaiyya, where he talked about the Sahaba. Then he said something bad about him. Sheikh Muhammad ibn Wahhab al-Banna, you know Sheikh al-Banna in Mecca. Sheikh Salih al-Suhaimi, Sheikh Muhammad bin Hadi al-Madkhali, Sheikh Abdullah al-Bukhari, Sheikh Umar Bazmoul and his brother Ahmad Bazmoul, Sheikh Yahya Hajuri. Sounds to me that there's more here than just Sheikh Rabi. The difference between him and Sheikh Rabi, which seems to me that there's a general principle that is at work here. And that is, Hukum ala shay fara'an tasawwirih. To rule upon something is a branch or aspect of understanding it. And if he thinks the issue is just between Ma'arabi and Sheikh Rabi, then there's no wonder why he's mistaken in the issue. There's no wonder why he's mistaken in the issue. Because it's more than that. And therefore he hasn't read what others have said, has he? He hasn't looked into the others and see what they've said, because if he had it, he would have mentioned them. Also, it should be known that there are over, and we can read them by name, but we don't have the time, over, as Sheikh Mukbar used to say, Ma'adha ya ikhwan, Ma'adha ya ikhwan. There's over 218 responses against Ma'arabi. 218. 218 people responding against the man. 218 people who see him as deviant. 218 people who see him astray. 218 people who happens to agree with Sheikh Rabi, and who have came to the conclusion after their own study of the issue. 218. So why are you coming, Goldie? Why are you coming and presenting the issue like it's just between one or two sheikhs? It's just between one and two sheikhs. And it's just ikhtilaf. It's just a small thing. Luhaydan speaks about it, that's nothing. Salih Tuhaimi speaks about it, that's nothing. Ahmad Najmi, Zayd Madkhali, this one, that one. Don't mean anything. Just a small issue. Yet, isn't it kind of strange that this small issue got you running around making tawbah? That this small issue got you going here and there trying to clarify yourself? You would have to agree that the issue's not as small as you thought it was. Or you try to make it.
I don't see the man as being a deviant. That is the position of other ulama who are not considered to be deviants.
Jayyid. He won't mention to us those other ulama who hold his position. It would have been better for him to mention to us them before he mentioned himself. That this is the opinion of Sheikh and such and such and such, and I agree with it. This is the adab of a student of knowledge, but you don't have no adab these days. But nevertheless, It would have helped his case, wouldn't it, if he had mentioned? Unless he was fearing that people know his ace in the hole. That people know his undercard. And that he's going to mention Abdul Muhsin Abbad. Well, we know that Goldie spoke before Abdul Muhsin Abbad spoke. I argued with this issue with him before Abdul Muhsin Abbad al-Badr spoke. Now to claim now that just because this sheikh said such and such, then now I'm with him and like this, to claim this pattern now is really being deceitful. It's really been deceitful. You held a position before the sheikh spoke, and now you're trying to make it as if your conclusions were due to the conclusions of the sheikh or something like this. And another thing I don't like him saying is other ulama. Abu Usamah, ittaqillah. You're not from the ulama. So to say other ulama will indicate what? Listen.
And as being a deviant. That is the position of other ulama who are not considered to be deviants.
I want to say, well, you're carrying it too far, maybe. No, that's the reality. If you see yourself in that position, this is the position of other ulama. Another thing, there's a lot of reason why a scholar can say something in an issue and not be considered a deviant, and you say the same thing and you consider it a deviant. Oh, he doesn't know this? Scholar has said something based upon a certain amount of ilm, based upon a certain position, based upon certain matters and everything else. It might be his ijtihad that led him to that, but you're a person who can't make ijtihad aslan. So what are you doing this? Where did you get this from? Understand this point. It's not for any fool to do whatever he wants to say in the deen of Allah Ta'ala. And then if his method or his program leads him into agreement with the scholars to say, well, the scholars are deviant, so I'm not a deviant. In order for you to call me a deviant, you have to call the scholar a deviant. Imām Ahmad used to say about these type of people, whether they're wrong or they're right, they're wrong. Whether they're wrong, brother, or they're right, they're wrong. Because they didn't take the proper method. They didn't take the proper method.
So what I wanted to say here today, Ikhwan, at the masjid here, Masjid Rahmah, is that if anybody here has some advice, some hujjah, some dalil, some burhan, in which it is a case where I become a deviant, wallahi, I'm here to listen to that advice right now and to make a clear, decisive tawbah from that kalima, a tawbah from that particular statement. I came here to Masjid Rahmah.
Allahu musta'an, Allahu musta'an. Akhi, ittaqillah. Fear Allah. Now you come in for advice. And you already had the understanding of what you were supposed to do. So you want to make a clear tawbah. But once you arrive at Masjid Rahmah, now you need hujjaj, evidence, buraheen, proofs. Because he might think nobody know what these words mean, so we might, well, kick him out there. Hujjaj, buraheen, adillah. They don't mean the same thing, man. Let's not get all worked up. They don't mean the same thing. SubhanAllah. Okay, so he wants this from the people now. And he wants the people at Masjid Rahmah, and he keeps emphasizing Masjid Rahmah, and I tell you that's because he's using Masjid Rahmah. He's messing with Masjid Rahmah. He's playing with Masjid Rahmah. He's taking advantage of Masjid Rahmah. He's getting mileage and prestige out of the name of Masjid Rahmah. He keeps saying it. So here I am at Masjid Rahmah. Yeah. Like the cafe in the old days, at the Waldorf Astoria. Who cares where you're at, Tahi? Taqillah ya rajul. Who cares where you're at? The point of the matter, now you want from our brothers, our general brothers, to give you that which I guess you couldn't get anywhere. I guess you couldn't went to Sheikh Rabi and got no hujjaj, no buraheen, no adillah. I guess this sheikh that you love so much, Abdul Muhsin Abba, you couldn't have called him. There's no one in the Haramain you could have got that from. Hujjaj and buraheen. No one you could have called in the dunya who had knowledge of kitab wa sunnah and the minhaj of Salafi Salih and could have rectified your matters and guided you in this issue. You had to come to Newark and get it from the brothers. So I'm asking them if they got anything to present. This is game. Let's call it what it is, Goldie. It's game. You know the brothers. I mean, let's be honest, half our brothers don't remember their name. Get up and don't, you know. Call him Mustafa. He said, what? Oh, yeah, that's me. I mean, haqiqatan yani, not in a negative way, but realistically, they're not going to be able to give you that answer. Half of them didn't remember what it was you did. And the absence of the remembrance doesn't indicate that you didn't do nothing. So like you knocking somebody upside the head and they come to, but they don't know it was you. I mean, you didn't do the crime. You're asking the wrong individuals. You know very well that you are. Using a strategy here. Technique. How you going to come and ask the brothers in the masjid? You come for Toba, and now that you're here for Toba, you want them to bring all their evidence and stuff. You haven't asked Ahmad Najmi what was his evidence. You haven't asked even for Sheikh Faleh his evidence. You don't want to talk to him. You haven't talked to anybody like this about these issues. But you think you can get it at Masjid Rahmah as if we got it like that? We don't have it like that. Rahimahullāh. Mercy of Allah be upon a servant who knows his position. We don't have it like that. It's not an institution of learning where you coming in, and some of us aren't even turning a page of Nawawi. The best amongst us might read 1 or 2 pages of Quran. Come on. You know our reality, so you come and you exploit it.
I remind all of you of the advice of Sheikh Rabi' to the brothers of Masjid Rahmah.
Now he's going to remind the brothers of Masjid Rahmah of the advice of Sheikh Rabi' to Masjid Rahmah. See, I told you, he don't even think we remember our names. He's going to remind all the brothers of Masjid Rahmah of the advice of Sheikh Rabi' to the brothers of Masjid Rahmah. Game, Goldie, come on.
They went to his house in Mecca, that you should advise these brothers.
Went to his house in Mecca. We didn't know that. We forgot we went to his house. But listen to this point. You're going to find something in it that's amazing, that I remind you about earlier. The issue of what? Of whether or not he's a follower. The thing that he swore by Allah, may Allah curse him and his children, that he died a Jew. Die like Menachem Begin. Die a Jew. Huh? Die like Moshe Dayan. Die a Jew. He's not a fowler. But certainly he's going to want to be considered a fowler.
To the brothers of Masjid Rahmah, when they went to his house in Mecca, that you should advise these brothers, the followers of Abu Hassan al-Marabi, you should advise them. And if you find that they insist and persist upon what they are, then you should leave them alone. But don't be like the people who pour gasoline on a man who's already burning. So if people view me as being non-Salafi for this reason or that reason, I am ready here in Masjid Rahmah to hear those hujjaj.
What's that? What's that? Akhi, you just swore you're not a fowler. Akhi, you just swore You will sent down a curse of Allah Ta'ala upon your family, upon your children. You want to die a Jew if you're a follower. But now you want to marry the brothers who you've asked from them advice, that they should advise you. And what is your evidence of that? What Sheikh Rabi said, that how you should advise the followers of Ma'arabi. Tell me, Akhi. Tell me if the words aren't true. In kana kalam min fiddatin, that if talk is from silver, fasakut min dhahab, the silence is golden.
Adillah and those baraheen, and I will come here right now today to say I'm free of that, or to explain the situation. That's what I came here for.
Back it up. Listen again. This guy's amazing.
Pour gasoline on a man who's already burning. So if people view me as being non-Salafi for this reason or that reason, I am ready here in Masjid Rahmah to hear those hujjaj, those adillah, and those baraheen, and I will come here right now today to say I'm free of that, or to explain the situation. That's what I came here for. I'm not a follower of Abu Hassan al-Ma'rabi. My issue is that I don't see a man as being a deviant based upon the issues that he has ikhtilaf with Sheikh Rabi upon, based upon what Sheikh Rabi made him a mubtadi'an, just as other ulama did not and do not see him as being a deviant. And there was another issue that...
Okay. So now, bear with us. We don't have much time. What did the man come for? Because, billahi, I'm confused now. I thought that he came for Tawbah. Then the next minute, he wants to hear adillah and baraheen from people. Then after that, he really came for advice. And not to have gasoline poured on him. And kada. And now, if you have hujjaj and baraheen that say he's not Salafi, he wants to deal with that. So to me, that's about 4 or 5 different matters that he came here for. Matter of fact, the only conclusion that you can come to is that he did, in fact, physically come to, as he keeps saying, Masjid Rahmah, Masjid Rahmah, Masjid Rahmah.
Bad about Sheikh Rabi. I wrote in a personal email, and I already recanted this already. I wrote in a personal email to a brother.
Okay. Second matter is that he spoke about Sheikh Rabi, and he did, in front of many of the brothers in Philadelphia. Jayyid. Now he's going to say he recanted. You just heard it. Now, once again, to me, I don't know how, because I think he's from Patterson, New Jersey, so he's a Jersey boy. I don't know how y'all do it out here. But when we recant, I mean, probably anywhere else on earth, you are being repentful, and you regret what you've done, and you're not making excuses about it. Listen to this.
And there was another issue that I spoke bad about Sheikh Rabi. I wrote in a personal email, and I already recanted this already. I wrote in a personal email to a brother when he asked me what happened in the Majlis with Sheikh Rabi. I said, I saw some things from the Sheikh that don't allow me to take everything from him in this issue. And that brother passed it out to the other people, and the people said, this is talking disrespectfully about the Sheikh. 4 or 5, so many months ago, a long time ago, in public, on an email, I recanted that statement. I said, I shouldn't have said that. That was a wrong statement to make. I didn't mean it like that. No one ever asked me, what did you see? But the point is, we're not going to get into that. I took that back. That should not count. People said,
no one ever asked me, what did you see? That's recanted in Jersey. No one ever asked me, what did you see? I seen things from Sheikh Rabi. He saw something. We want to know what? Was the Sheikh smoking crack? Well, I mean, what What was the sheikh doing? Barakallahu feekum. What was he doing? What was the sheikh doing that made it such that you can't accept anything from him? What type of insinuation are you placing there? What type of innuendo are you using? What are you trying to say about the sheikh? I saw things that wouldn't allow me to accept what he was saying. I saw things from him. He's recanted from this. Why? Because it was wrong to do. He recanted from this. Why? Because it was incorrect. It was disrespect to the alim and ulama from an inheritance of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. No, he recanted because it got hot. He recanted because it got a little tight. By virtue of the fact that he's saying here, nobody ever asked me what I saw. Nobody ever asked me what I saw. Fool, who cares what you saw? No one cares what you saw. We're not going to take what you say regarding Sheikh Rabi'. If we would take half the things, people say, well, you're being too cold-blooded now. But if we would take, let's generalize it so it goes down a little bit gentler. If we would take half the things that half the people saw from half the people, then we definitely wouldn't accept anything you would say. Put it that way. Regarding this man we didn't see, you saw something that made it impossible for you to accept from the sheikh. In Islamic terms, akhi, in the Sharia term, akhi, in the matters regarding fiqh, akhi, what are those type of things that make a person's word unacceptable? I don't think you can crawl away from this one. I don't think you can get away from the narration of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that he who says about his brother that which is not true will be placed in the pus of the people of hellfire, not brought out of it until he brings his fruit. I don't think you repented until you come talk to Sheikh Rabi' and say you said it and you apologize for it. Madam anhu hayya, as long as he's alive. It's just foolishness. You think of the matters that make a person's word unacceptable Islamically. Go home. Look it up. Is he a liar? Is he a fasiq? He commits fisk. So you just can't accept his word. Allah tabarak wa ta'ala did not tell us even reject the word of a fasiq. He just said verify it. In ja'akum fasiqun binaba'in. What? Tabayyanu. So obviously whatever Sheikh Rabi' did was worse than that.
His niyyah is not true. His niyyah is not sincere, and so forth and so on.
Talking about his own niyyah. That people might think that.
That should not count. People say, no, his niyyah is not true. His niyyah is not sincere, and so forth and so on. So those are the issues that I know people were saying that they make me a deviant as a result of that. If anyone has anything other than that, or those issues, I'm here in this city, in your masjid, Masjid Rahmah, to recant any of those issues. So that's what I wanted to say here today, asking that you brothers take from the advice of the Shaykh by giving a da'wah and nasiha, as the Prophet says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, ad-dinu nasiha, and he said it 3 times. And I call Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to witness over what I'm saying. هذا وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين.
Oh, that's the end of this tape, which to me is also amazing, because you just ask people for nasiha and you turn off the tape. I mean, we heard this or know that he came, and we really believe that we were taken advantage of. you know, and as for those brothers who might be a little soft-hearted around here, who, you know, say, well, I don't care if I say Abu Usamah, I'm going to hug him, I'm going to do this, or those brothers who I've been listening, you know, I listened to his tapes, you know, all these years. Well, hell, it did you a lot of benefit. But anyway, you know, and it's this and that and the other, yani, and, you know, I feel that, you know, this is incorrect, the way he's being treated and so forth. Those are softies in general, and their words aren't to be taken. And really, we give no scale to it whatsoever. Because this is a serious matter, and you need serious men. This is a serious matter, and you need serious men. You know, that childlike, you know, walking around in pamper type mentality is not what we're about. But he took advantage of it. And, you know, if a brother don't know when he's been taken advantage of, you know, it's subhanallah. You know, it's like a woman who doesn't know she's been taken advantage of. Men came in specifically to the masjid to make a point. He sent the email. Oh yeah, these guys don't leave you alone. Sent me an email. It's called regarding licking people's boots. Regarding licking people's boots. Now I take it that someone had read it, you know, probably said something to him, and that maybe his whole move this way was like that and this type of thing. So he felt a need to respond that he's not a boot licker. First of all, he starts out sent to me, and then I don't know 100 other people that I don't know anything about. And he sends it to me, and then it's CC to this one and to that one and to this one and to. I mean, the names are numerous. So I mean, you know, this thing about when he said about Sheikh Rabi that it was a private email, there's no way in hell it could be a private email if you send it to 100 and something people. You know, there's no way. So okay, this is a private email here, I guess. You know, private email sent to everybody, you know, but a few on the planet. He starts out after the heading regarding licking people's boots. He started out licking boots. Because he says, and if he knew me, he would know it would make me angry, that he would even approach it from this way. Sheikh, how are you? You don't know me. Anybody who knows me, no, that's abhorrent. That's foolish. Fool, because you don't know who you is. I know who I am. You don't understand your level and you want to transgress the boundaries, can do so. But don't, please don't play that game. We're talking about ad-Da'watus-salafiyyah here, man. This ain't no game. We're talking about what we own. It's this particular path and a particular way, following a particular people upon a particular minhaj. And our minhaj teach us that we don't step above our station. Sheikh, where? Write that to Sheikh Rabi, akhi, that you disrespected. Sheikh what? Sheikh of what? Sheikh is the one in the Arabic language that says tajawaz al-khamseen, who has passed the 50s, and he's at the 60s. What, the last time you saw me, I had a stick and a cane in my hand and all this? Where you get this from? I just arrived back to the UK, and I made it back safely, alhamdulillah, like we care. I don't really mean that in a negative way, but come on, I don't care, akhi. I don't care. I care that you rectify yourself. I care that you make tawbah, and it's a true tawbah. I care that you're trying to play games with the minds of the youth and the laymen that don't know anything. Care that you get yourself together and you step in line with the rest of those who are in the army of Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Get back in there, honey. Get back in step. Get back where you belong. Barakallahu feekum. Other than that, I don't care. Immigration and FBI don't give me too many problems leaving this time. I don't care. They kept you in the airport, all day long. Alhamdulillah. He might be talking to somebody else here. He might not be referring to me. But why he sent it to me, I don't understand that. So I'll leave it at that. Then he goes into this whole visit to Masjid Rahmah. Statement, he says that I tricked the brother Naeem into this or that. It's blatant lie. And all of those who witness what happened should be men enough to fess up to this fact. But I know Hizbi stand behind their group no matter what. When I was leaving the masjid, I asked Naeem, do you know whether or not Abu Uwais received any of my messages? Naeem kept saying, I received your message. I received your message. And refused to acknowledge whether or not he gave the message to Abu Uwais. This was an indication to me that the brothers were not going to be cooperative and that they were not interested in any real rectification. It's not our rectification. Wait. You know, he's acting as if he's talking about Islah. It's not our rectification. I mean, brothers, even though we bent over backwards literally, allow him to make a move on us that indicated that, you know what I'm saying, if our brother Tawfiq was here, that there were faggots in the area. Seriously, I mean, it's just that type of infraction. Even along with that, we weren't being cooperative. Our brother, unfortunately, gave him the use of the musalla and let this mubtadi' talk on the mic. What more do you want? Are we supposed to make sajda to you? What do you want, Your Honor, Your Highness? What do you want? Naeem Abdullah Hakim, Naeem and Abdullah Abdul Hakim, I guess he mean Hakim Abdullah, whatever, went into office and they had me wait outside for about 10 or 15 minutes. When they told me to come in, I was surprised to find they didn't have an answer as to how to proceed. Surprised at the brothers. Brothers don't know how to take care of business. Naeem and Abdul Hakim Abdullah, I guess he's talking about. Or Abdullah Abdul Hakim, whichever one he's referring to. So he goes on in front of me. Naeem called Abu Uwais and he left a message on his phone as Abu Uwais did not pick up. And then Naeem on his own accord told me, you can talk. Just allow us to record it. And put Naeem all on front. Put Naeem all on front now. You know what I'm saying? Who asked you who it was that said you could talk? He said this in front of Abdullah Hakim Abdullah and brother Mujahid, who lived in Riyadh and he's now living in Newark. Mujahid was the person who showed me where the masjid was, as I never visited the masjid prior to that day. Jazakallah khair, Mujahid. He ain't talking about Abu Muraisa, I know. He's not talking about Abu Muraisa. Would have took him to a different place. Right there, right around the corner there. Just go up the steps. No. Subhanallah. I had enough sense to bring Mujahid into the office as I felt I needed a witness. He needed a witness. He didn't trust you brothers from the get-go, obviously. To witness to what went on, alhamdulillah, looking at what they are doing and saying. Gee, you hear this man? And you gonna let him do this again? This man saying he needed a witness to witness what they are saying. So he never trusted us. So what did he come over here for? We're not trustworthy. What you want? Leave us alone. We're not trustworthy. Or maybe you saw from us what you saw from Sheikh Rabi. You know. Now, there I doing. He's saying, I'm happy he was there, witness. He said, no, I'm happy he was there and witnessed everything. He witnessed everything that happened in the Musalla as well. After I left a message with Abu Uwais and him telling me to record what I had to say, I went out and prepared to talk on the mic. I began by saying, then he goes on about what he said. Then I named his cell phone ring and he motioned me to stop. And my brother was recording the session to turn off the tape. This was done in front of all the people. So I stopped while he talked on the phone. Where it's supposed to be done at? He hung up the phone and told me to continue. I had enough sense to ask him, was that Abu Uwais? I had enough sense to ask him, was that Abu Uwais? He said yes. This took place in front of all those who were sitting. I don't recall how that could happen. This is qadr. This is qadr. I don't recall any contact except Naeem calling me. And unless something has changed with cell phones, someone has to call you for it to ring. So what he's saying here is that his phone rung and he had the session stopped. Yeah, Ajaba. You understand that one? Does that make any sense? I mean, I know what all the lies you heard earlier. Does that make any sense to you? This took place in front of all those sitting with the waiting to hear what I say. I don't know how someone can come now and say Abu Uwais didn't know about me wanting to address the people. Of course I didn't know he wanted to address the people. I can tell you quite very clearly that it was not known that you want to address the people to me. For if it was known, if that was something known, you would not have been allowed to. You would not have been allowed to. There would have been at least a heated argument about that matter. At least. I also heard that Abu Uwais had some things to say on Power Talk session that night as to how and why the people at Masjid Rahmah would allow me to get the mic. And on those best, according to Naeem, he spoke to Abu Uwais before I spoke, and he still motioned for me to continue. Also, I found it strange that Abu Uwais would call and not ask to speak to me as I was trying to contact him for a week. So something also I can maybe help him with the strangeness here. I don't want any contact with him. Maybe I can alleviate some of the strangeness here. And he could have been sitting with 100 people, him being 101, and the phone could have went around to 100 people, and when it got to him, I would have hung up. When someone says they don't want to be bothered, how is it strange? That you bother them. How is it strange if they don't want to be bothered? How is it strange that they want to talk to you? Now, and since I was in front of the people, I just left it. Then I proceeded to tell brothers that Sheikh Rabi advised the brothers from this masjid to give followers of Abu Hassan al-Ma'rabi advice, and that is why I was there. Oh man, what you gonna do with this man? I thought he was here for October. No, he's not here for October. According to his own email here, he's not a follower of Abu Hassan al-Ma'rabi according to the oath that you heard him saying on the tape, saying that may the curses of Allah be upon him and upon his children, saying that may I die a Jew if I'm lying, right? He's not a follower. But here he's saying, that since I was in front of the people, I just left it. Then I proceeded to tell brothers that Sheikh Rabi advised the brothers from this masjid in particular, Rahmah, to give the followers of Abu Hassan al-Ma'rabi advice, and that is why I was there. Does it make any sense to you? Maybe the next line will make sense. It's possible. Sometimes the bright stuff is around the corner. I told them I'm not a follower of Abu Hassan al-Ma'rabi, and I was willing and ready to receive any advice from anyone who thought I was a deviant, and how I was hoping someone would be able to show me their proofs. I told them I was trying to contact the leadership at that masjid for a week, and I was left with no other alternative other than to show up there the way I did, hoping someone else, anyone would be there from the leadership. When Abu Uwais failed to show up for the salah, and a'udhu billah. Man, where you going with this, man? Where you going with this? يعني خسران مني يعني. It's a fault. I'm failing. Maybe if he had his behind in the masjid he's supposed to be in, I wouldn't have to bother with him. I asked permission from two of the brothers who had keys to the office and who took responsibility for dealing with the situation. Now I'm hearing all of these things that are being said on their website. Suffice to say, whose website? I made myself visible in the city of East Orange in Newark, New Jersey. I prayed at Masjid Ashab Yamin, 4th Avenue a number of times, and at Abu Muslim's Masjid a number of times. And I also went out of my way to go to Masjid Rahmah. You didn't have to do that. You did not have to do that. Since you went to 4th Avenue, and since you went up there with those people of Dalala, Bid'ah, those who find fault with the ulama, you could have stayed there. You could have stayed there. You're going to have to make no great effort to come here. And we would appreciate it, but it's something more relaxed for us, something of a more comforting time for us. For we had classes scheduled and things that we were trying to do until you came in here with this tomfoolery and this ludicrous, absurd behavior. That was a manhaj lesson that we have to change. Just tonight was aqidah lesson. But this is the last time we're going to spend on this fool, inshallah. Na'am. So, and I prayed with them. I was like the blind man coming with sincerity for some advice about his deen. And abasa wa tawalla. At least he agreed with my point that he was blind. Now, as far as abasa wa tawalla and who gets that ruling as the one who turned him away, I can only guess. I can only guess where he's trying to say that applies. But see, it's just something missing here, because, I mean, abasa wa tawalla just implies that he frowned and he turned away. I would have kicked him in his behind also. I ate at the local restaurant in the area as well. Quite naturally, I met a Muslim who follows, the Muslims who follow the way of the ghulat. The ghulat are those who don't see things his way. Ghulat are extremists. So there are those who don't agree with his position regarding Abu Hassan Ma'arabi. So he met some. I don't know if we got any in this masjid or not. No. Of course, he's going to say all of us are ghulat. Brothers who used to be quite close to who now don't give salams to people. Well, man, what is he trying to say? Take that all the way back to Masjid Rahmah if you want. That's not our thing. Eh? What is that? It's a situation now that we're doing it because the ulama have told us to boycott certain people, and back then they were doing it just because they was following some ass, some monkey who didn't know anything and still doesn't know anything. It dawned on most of the people and haven't dawned on some. And he said, subhanallah. So he goes on. He said, don't give salams to people because they may pray at the Masjid of Abu Usamah, where Abu Usamah is the Imām, or the brothers don't see eye to eye with the way they practice Salafiyyah in Masjid Rahmah. Whenever the issue of the fitna came up in our discussion conversations, I would ask those brothers, why are you and the people saying I'm a deviant? And 100% of the discussions that I had, the brothers would say, I don't know. Them some stupid brothers. Them some real foolish brothers. If you're walking around calling somebody mubtadi and you don't know why, you need to get yourself together. And yet they held the opinion that I'm a deviant even though they knew me to be Salafi. And according to them, they don't know why I'm not Salafi now. I'm absolutely shocked and amazed at what people are calling Salafiyyah in that area now. Yeah, I know, it's changed a little bit. I mean, you know, Abu Usamah is no longer the Khalifa, as you called them. And 4th Avenue Masjid is no longer Masjid Dirar that's mentioned in the Quran and that you can't pray in or stand at. Yes, it's a little bit of difference. We're not, you know, the people aren't taking an opinion of one man over Kitab wa Sunnah and where Salaf Saleh. Yes, he's amazed at what? He wasn't amazed at this madness that was going on in 96 and 97 and 98 when he ran and didn't do what he was supposed to do regarding those Muslims that he had obligation to make sure that they was up on clarity. It's different now, yes. It's changed. Yes, it's changed. Alhamdulillah, it's changed. MashaAllah, it's changed. And inshallah ta'ala, it's changing for the better. And it's changing seems to be rocking and disturbing certain people. Why it even got you floating in. Like a toilet that's overflowing, that's over full, you can't do nothing about. We got to deal with you. Got to see you. Bringing you here to Masjid Rahmah. Said Masjid Rahmah so much on that cassette recorder, you tend to wonder what was wrong with the man. People might have came to us after and said, well, do you pay him for advertisement or what? He said Masjid Rahmah more than we say Masjid Rahmah. I'm here at Masjid Rahmah, sitting here at Masjid Rahmah, talking at Masjid Rahmah. I'm about to say a word at Masjid Rahmah. Came to Masjid Rahmah from the sea. One advice from Masjid Rahmah. Need Masjid Rahmah. The brothers at Masjid Rahmah who met with Sheikh Muqbil in Mecca. Masjid Rahmah, Masjid Rahmah, Masjid Rahmah. SubhanAllah. If he's so astonished about the Da'watus-salafiyyah in this area, then what is it that brings him to Masjid Rahmah? Maybe it's the Rahmah. Hey, but don't get it mixed up. Rahmah is in its proper place, in its proper time. Cutting a hand off is Rahmah. Taking a Negro out there, if you had the Sultan authority, and lashing his back 100 times until blood came out, is a Rahmah. Oh yes, that's a mercy. You don't know it's a mercy until you did it. It's a beautiful mercy. If I had been here dragging that nigger out this masjid and tearing his butt down these steps, would have been a Rahmah. You not having to see another side of Abu Uwais, baby, it's a Rahmah. It's a Rahmah. Because this here is no game, akhi. This is ad-deen. These fools, these buffoons, who were telling people all types of madness in 96 and 97, who had them thinking that that man up there was the Imām and the Khalifa, and that those people were munafiqeen, who never heard the existence of Al-Albani or Bin Baz or Ibn Uthaymin or the like. That's the Salafiyyah he like. Get back with that. So that's not happening no more, insha'Allah ta'ala. Allahu musta'an. I'll say it as I said in the beginning. 75% if not more of this man's problem is he hasn't understood in kana kalam fiddatin fasakut min dhahab, that if talking is silver, baby, silence is golden. Please, Goldie, be silent. هذا وصلى الله على نبينا محمد.
بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. The preceding has been a presentation of Al-Maktabatus-Salafiyyah and SalafiBookstore.com. We are a registered charitable non-profit organization located in the United Kingdom which promotes Islamic da'wah through various platforms, including the Salafi Masjid and Islamic Center located in Birmingham, UK, our full and part-time Islamic school, our Islamic websites and affiliates such as Salaf.com, SalafiPublications.com, TheNobleQuran.com, and our other numerous websites, our Islamic seminars, classes, lectures and events, our non-Muslim and media outreach programs towards promoting positive understanding of Islam, and numerous other charitable Islamic projects. You may contact us online at www.salafipublications.com. You may order products at www.salafibookstore.com. You may email us at inquiries@salafipublications.com. For order inquiries, at orders@salafibookstore.com. You may reach us by phone at 0121 773 0003. By fax at 0121 773 4882. And in person or by mail at Salafi Bookstore and Islamic Center, 472 Coventry Road, Small Heath, Birmingham, West Midlands, United Kingdom, B100UG. Wajazakumullahu khair, wa barakallahu fikum, wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.